So the prerequisite for teaching this trick is that they need to know a sit pretty, a paw target, and if you want them to hold the toy as well, a hold. So, I mean, you can actually give them the toy between their paws. You don't have to hold it, but Bella does a quite cute one where she holds onto the toy and then gives it a hug. So, well, you can't do it yet. No, you can't do it, Kenzie. So this is, and obviously if you're going to use a toy, you want something that's quite light, very light, long, but not too skinny, whereas, because when they cross their paws over, it's going to slide through, yeah? So something plumpish, but really light, and sometimes it helps if it's got arms, because when they put it in, the little arms get stuck like that, and it helps them hold it up. And I always like to have something like a hat or something like that, or something on the top that they can hold on to really easily. Oh. Nice. Now Bella hasn't done that for a little while, so see how she was like shaking? She's lost a bit of the core strength of doing that trick, so that's something that I want to talk about in the video. Nice, good girl. So to teach that trick, you need first of all to teach a sit pretty, and the sit pretty needs to be down. The sit pretty needs to be a really strong trick, and it needs to be so that the dog has built up strength, stamina and balance, because if you don't do that, the dog will just wobble, and then you're asking the dog to move while they're trying to use their muscles, their back muscles and their shoulder muscles and their stomach muscles. You're asking them to do a movement as well. That's going to make them off balance even more. So it is essential really that you, for your dog's safety, that you have a really solid sit pretty first. So Bella, sit pretty, wait. Nice. So Bella has a pretty good sit pretty, but we haven't worked on hug a toy for maybe about a year or so, something like that. So, excuse me. What was that for? Nancy, hop on. Bella. Yeah. So you need to really work on that. So this is not a trick that can be taught in a couple of weeks, or a couple of days, or whatever. You need to work on this trick, I would say, for a good work on the strength and building the stamina of that sit pretty for a good few weeks, a month, really. If you've already got a dog that's pretty fit, if you do agility or sports or something like that, then you can gauge how your dog's fitness is for this trick individually, because if you think about it, they're using these muscles here, they're using their stomach muscles and their core muscles right inside there. So, and also, you know, be aware of their hips as well with an older dog. I mean, Bella's coming up 9, she wishes 9 next month. Thank you, sit. So she's 9 next month, and you know, so I would just be watching out for seeing if she was struggling doing that and holding that sit pretty really strongly. So I'll be looking for a nice square sit pretty with equal weight on each back leg and a nice square sit, and holding that well before I would bring in any other trick into that, like holding something or touching something, so that I know for a fact that she's got the strength there to start with. Yes, I know. You can work on building up their stamina and strength in their core muscles by first of all doing the sit pretty on a normal surface, and then you can bring in something like a wobble board or a peanut or a exercise ball, something like that. And if you can get your dog to do a sit pretty reliably and hold it steady on one of those, then you know that your dog really does have good core strength, and you're not going to be worried about them injuring themselves. So one way to build good duration in your sit pretty before you are using in this trick is to use something like a licky stick or the tubes of pate, which I have a video on these kind of things if you look for different types of treats. Or even sometimes just put a piece of a smoothing of peanut butter on the back of a wooden spoon and let them lick it off, or some coconut oil or whatever your dog's really into, and that's safe for them to have, because while they're licking that, you're getting the duration. Yeah. So we go sit pretty, and then I would let her lick that while she's in the sit pretty position, and it's taking a nice while. Yes, good girl. So once you have a really good sit pretty and you know your dog's really solid with that, then the next thing to do is start to bring in something like a pole, a broom or an umbrella, something long and thin. Now the reason for that is, so you're going to ask your dog to do a paw target on this. If you used something big and long and wide and ask them to do a paw target on it, they would lean on it. So by using something thin and you're asking for a paw target, eventually what happens is they end up going around it, what I call hooking it with their paw, and they can't lean on it to balance themselves, so they have to keep the balance themselves, and that's what they'll need when they're going to hug the toy. I like to use something like this mop because it's got this thing on the bottom which actually anchors it really nicely. Because what you're going to do is it doesn't have to be one of these, it can be a broom handle, it doesn't matter really, but this is just what I prefer. So you're going to anchor it on the floor in front of your dog in a sit pretty, and you're going to ask for a paw target. One paw to start with is fine, and then I would move on to asking for what I call a high 10 on here, 2 paws on it, yeah. So they'll be putting 2 paws on it until eventually you see them starting to hook around it. Should we give that a try? Wait. So I'm going to ask her for a sit pretty. Oh, nice, yeah. So she used both paws there. I wouldn't have minded if she just used one because I could work on that further. But she knows the trick, so she offered 2 paws. I know. So you ready? Sit. Sit pretty. Wait. Paw. Nice. Good girl. Sit. Sit pretty. Wait. Paw. Paw. Yes, that's it. So you see how, because this is thin, her paws, she can't lean on it and use it to balance, and eventually the paws go around the other side, and that's the point that I want to look to mark. As soon as the paws go around the other side of the paw, because that's the behaviour that you're going to want eventually, is doing the hugging motion. Come on to the mat. That's it. Good girl. Ready? Sit pretty. Wait. Pause. Nice. Good girl. So you would work on that, getting them to put their paws on or around the pole. And at the minute I'm anchoring it to the floor and I'm holding it firm. And then I move on from that by just holding it lightly so that she's not using me or the stick to lean on. She has to put her arms around it and still stay in the sit pretty. Arms, paws, whatever. Pretty, wait, pause, pause. Nice, good girl. Sit. Pretty, wait, pause. Nice, good girl. So now I'm going to do, when she's got her paws around it, I'm going to leave go of it just for a split second. But because it's touching the floor, it's not going to just fly all over. Sit. Sit pretty. Oh. Nice. Good girl. Well done. Good girl. Ready? Sit. Sit pretty. Oh. Nice. Good girl. Okay. Okay, the next step to get more of a hug on the pole is I'm going to use the opposition reflex. So when she's got her paws on it, I'm going to slightly tug it away from her so that the opposition reflex makes her pull it back into her. Yeah? Is it pretty? Yes. So as I'm moving it and pulling it, I need her to grasp onto it. Yes, very clever. You haven't done this for a long time, have you? No. Why not? Is it pretty? Oh. Yes, good girl. Well done. Good girl. I would always add a cue once you've got the paws around the pole. A couple of reasons, but the main reason being is you're then going to label a behaviour of this putting the arms round, and you can then use that for lots of other tricks. So I always like to, if I can, cue the individual behaviours to chain them all together and then give it another cue at the end. But I think it's really, really important to add that cue once you've got the paws around. So once you know that your dog's doing a nice hook around the pole, then you can bring the teddy or item in that you want them to hug. So how I'll do that is, I'm going to have it on this side of the pole to start with. I'm going to hold it at the right height where her paws would be. I know, darling. Yes, you're very clever. Come on. And then I'm going to present the pole with that on it, like that. If I can get it to stay there. And then I would do that for a couple of reps. Then I would bring it round that side, so the teddy is then touching her, not the pole. And then I would take the pole out. Is it pretty? Wait. So now, because I've got the teddy that side, she's reaching round to try and touch the pole, as she's got lots of reinforcement for touching the pole. And in the process of that, she's putting her paws around the teddy. So then I would remove the pole. Lots of repetitions, obviously, of that. I don't want to do too many repetitions of the sit pretty today with Bella, because she hasn't done a lot for a long time, so I don't want to strain her muscles too much. But then I would remove the pole, and then I'm going to present the teddy. At first, keeping hold of it so that it doesn't drop to the floor. The most important thing is don't let it drop to the floor. Take it off her before she drops it to the floor. Are you ready? Sit. Sit pretty. Nice. And what I'm looking for when I present the teddy is I'm looking for her not to lean on it so that she's leaning her weight and I'm supporting her weight with the teddy. I want her paws to touch it, so she's still supporting herself. You had it, sweetheart. Oh, it's here, look. There it is. Oh, sorry. Are you ready? Is it pretty? Wait. Nice. Good. So there, because she battered it out of the way, I didn't reward that, because that's not what I am looking for. Is it pretty? Wait. Nice. That's lovely. Good girl. Depends on the size of your dog. If you've got a big dog, it's easier to get that teddy in between their paws, but that does mean that they have a bigger gap in the middle, so the teddy is likely to fall through. A smaller dog sometimes can hold on to an item a lot easier because there's less space between their chest and their paws. Is it pretty? I don't want that, do I? Yes, thank you. So I just didn't reward her leaning on it there, and I just took it back again and represented it. Ready? Is it pretty? Nice. Easy, clever. Ready? Is it pretty? I'm going to put it underneath. Yes, good girl. The easiest, thank you. The easiest way sometimes is to put it underneath and bring it up and then let it go. So then to move that on for the whole trick combination, trick sequence, is to have her take the teddy, sit pretty, and then hug it. And that is a really, really cute trick, isn't it? So come here so the camera can see. Sit. Good girl. You ready? Take it. Sit pretty. Hug. Nice. Take it. Sit pretty. Hug. Yes. Nice. Good girl. Hug. Nice. Hug. Nice. Good girl.